Good morning. Welcome to my studio. Today I'm going to be working on some little Octomaid babies, and this is the piece that they will be going with. You can see the mama has her little shell, and the babies and the little eggs, hatching eggs, will go in here like that, and you'll see the close-up of them here. And we'll start with the footage of the process of making them as I went along. So I am working on making some Octomaid babies, and I decided to throw a quick tutorial together. This is Cosclay that I'm working with today. I work with a lot of different clays, but today it's Cosclay. With it being upside down, it's always an issue being able to really tell if it's well focused or not. So this is the one that I was working on that's nearly complete. I still have to add the other arm, but you can see it's a cute little thing. So I thought it would make a good tutorial. Okay, so to start with, what you want to do, obviously, is condition your clay, and you're going to make a little ball. I found when trying to do pieces that are the same size, it's best for me if I sculpt a series of little heads so that I can get them relatively the same size. Obviously there's always going to be some variation, but more or less I can get them the same size if I do the heads all at the same time, and that pretty much dictates the size of the body as well. Okay, so start with their little ball of clay, and you want to get the head so that the back of the skull tapers down towards the jaw, and the top of the head is usually somewhat flat. I like the babies to have a little bit of a bulbous forehead, and the eyes are inset and little puffy cheeks. And the way I achieve that is, you've seen me do this on other videos. I take a long straight tool like this, and I come in on the front, and well, first let me establish that angle that I was showing from the side. And you can do that just by rolling the little tool up towards the face. Okay. You want those cheeks to be chubby and round. I want the cheeks to be chubby and round. So you get the head so that they're shaped pretty similarly. The back of the head is smaller than the front of the head. That little ball area that I mentioned before that sits right back here. In this case, because the piece is so small, I did not put foil in it. It's pretty tiny, this little head. But then I'm going to take this tool, and it's a knit and purl tool that was from Sculpey, and I'm going to use the part where it starts to get bigger, and I'm going to press in on a little more on the left than the center, and then again a little more on the right of center, and that starts to give me the eye socket shape that I want, and starts to create that rounded cheek that I want. Okay, and then I'm going to push forward underneath here and lift that little bit of a chin so it comes forward, and then repeat on the other side so I get a little bit of a chin sticking out there. Okay, Now with this one, I think I'm going to repeat the open eye, and I'm using these little glass beads. I think they were made for making fishing lures, but they work out really well for me. So I'm going to take and cut off, because I wanted the eyes to be black. I didn't want them to have that human look, not for the babies, because babies' eyes, they tend to be really big, and they're usually blue. They don't exactly look like the mom's eyes until they get a little bit older, and these are going to be hatchlings. Okay, so I had these and they were a post. You see the little post? So I'm going to cut that post off almost completely. Okay. Make sure these go in the trash because they are sort of sharp, actually. Okay. So I want to come back here. So I am gathering clay from either side of the area where the nose is going to be and pushing it into this center area. The reason that I'm doing it is to create that little indentation around the nose. I may still end up adding a little bit of clay to this, but it gives me a good place to start. And pictures of babies. They have relatively flat faces, at least the nose. Okay, so I'm hoping I'm staying in focus. Let's see. And just gonna push that clay till I get a little ball. Really hard to keep this Cosclay clean, but I like the soft better than the original firm stuff. I couldn't work with that at all. It just was too hard on my hands trying to condition it, and it was crazy sticky once it was warm. Strong, very, very strong clay. So in that, it's pretty good. Okay, so here we go. Just softening that shape with the brush, smoothing it a little bit. And I gotta keep looking up at the camera. Make sure I'm where I belong. Okay. Now before I get any further, I'm going to try to clean some of this dust off this little face. Get one of these little alcohol prep wipes, because I have overhandled this, and with going to the mouse frequently and touching other things, I have really made this little head dirty, which is going to become a problem once the details are on there, because I'm going to have to wipe them off almost. They're so fine to get the face clean again. Now, I actually would recommend making a little skull for these, and I probably would if I was going to make a ton of them, because okay, and don't overdo it because you're just going to make everything crazy soft and the surface thin. Alright, put that away for now. Come back to it. Okay, now back to, oh, and make sure your brush is cleaned. Maybe that's where some of that dirt was coming from. These little alcohol wipes are great for a quick cleanup on your brush, because they break down the oil that's on your skin that you picked up from the clay and from your face and anything else. Okay. Little bitty button nose. Yeah, see, that head has gotten soft from the alcohol. Okay, so there's that. Now I want to indent my little, there you go. I want to indent here where the mouth is going to go a little bit, and here a little bit, which also adds to the look of how chubby these little cheeks are. Okay, and just bring in a little bit more of this nose. A lot of this detail is rough, and I'm going to try to zoom in with the camera after. Try to keep it focused where the little face is. Okay, so let's, sorry, I keep bumping the camera with my head. It's right in front of my face. Bring this line down just a hair and around. Put a teeny bit of a smile on this one. Needless to say, I don't work this small most of the time, if for no other reason than, I know you can't, maybe don't see it on the camera, but my hands, when I try to hold still, have a tendency to want to shake ever so slightly, especially when I'm holding really tiny things. I have carpal tunnel in both wrists, and it never fails that I'll start to just tremble when you're working on something this tiny. That tremble can just take a nose right off. Okay, and bring that chin in a little. And with something this small, sculpting with your paintbrush actually works pretty well, especially on a nice soft clay like this, the Cosclay. Okay, so now, where did my tweezers go? Tweezers. There they are. Well, normally the ends of this pair of tweezers has hot glue on them, but I peeled it off. I went to re-dip it, and it turns out my little melting pot is no more, so I have to get a new one. But I would normally dip this into the hot glue, one side into the little hot glue pot, and when I, oops, there we go. I would dip one side into the hot glue pot, so just the bottom part goes in, and it coats this side of the tweezers with just the tiniest bit of hot glue, and when I lift it out, that everything smooths, and that string ends up on the bottom, on the outside, and away from what I'm going to be working on. And then I repeat on the other side, and I use my scissors to snip off those things. But what it does is it gives me a non-slip surface here that's really soft. So like if I have to get between itsy bitsy fingers like this, I can without the tool leaving marks. But also when I try to grab onto a pair of eyes like this, these are slightly magnetized, by the way. Ooh. It helps me to hold on to whatever it is. Oh, right, I didn't make the hole yet. So I use a stylus that's about, let's see if you can see. There we go. Try to use a stylus that is about the same size or slightly smaller than the bead that I'm going to use. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and make a little hole for the bead to slide into. Okay, about equal. Oh, see? Yep, that happens. We're going to put a bottom lid on so it won't matter too much. Okay, so I try to rough things in, not do any like fine detail on anything right away, because you're bound to mess it up. Okay, yeah, I'm missing my hot glue already. Alright, drop that tiny little eyeball in its little hole. Okay, I'm going to set the other one in. Little stick. Sometimes I remove the whole stick, but okay. The stick does actually help get it to stay put once you get it going. Make sure you have them set equal distance apart. And I am setting them a little further apart than the other ones, I think, but I still like how it looks. Now be careful when you're pushing it in not to touch the clay around it. It's really easy to slip off. And you're going to push it in till it's set pretty well below the surface. Okay. But not so far in that it doesn't still stick out, because like you can see the profile that the eyes actually protrude forward. Even when the eye is open, they should still protrude forward a little bit. Okay. Now, get them side by side and see. I have them set too high. Okay, well, I can cover that up with eyelids. So I'm going to push that down. There we go. The other ones, their eyes are way closer to the nose and the bottom of the jaw. It's in the neighborhood. Okay, so keep going. Fix that monster divot there. And I'm going to smooth again. Carefully turn. Okay, so now a teensy weensy little bit of clay is needed to be the eyelids. you don't want the eyelid too thin, or you start to see the bead through it. So, okay, just gonna use a little sharp tool here to cut that in half, which gives you a left and a right. And I always put the tapered end to the outside edge. Oops, the outside edge. That way I can kind of grab hold of it, get it to drop in place. Okay, like that. And now bring this end in and touch down. Repeat for the other side. Come with me. Okay. Now, if it'll hop off on its own, you can just drop it there as well. And I want these eyes to look like they're just barely open. Okay. I might have too much clay here, but manageable. Okay, bring it around like that, and just slice off the surplus. There we go. Do the same. Now let's get this corner knitted in so we're in the general neighborhood of where we want to be. Okay. And repeat, because the eyelid follows the shape of the eyeball. You don't really want a bunch of additional eyelid to the outside, so tiny baby faces. They also really don't have like much of a crease above their eye. Their little eyes are pretty puffy. Everybody's different, but my little guys don't really have much of a crease. There's definition in the shape, but not really a so hard to tell if I'm staying in focus. Okay. Not really a crease. Your eyes, I think I chose the wrong size bead. These look really, really small. But that's okay. I can fake it. See, a good thing about the black bead. If I need them to look bigger, I can throw a little paint in there and make it look bigger. Okay, turn it upside down. Work on this side. I've said before, it's always a good idea to turn it upside down when you work on the opposite side. Oh, I definitely took too much clay away here, but that's okay because I can take some off on the other side and compensate. Well, I think I'll just push it up into the... There we go. That'll work. Back to my brush. And if you want symmetry in the eyes, don't just go for it and do one eye completely and try to match the other one, because things like there being too much clay on this side, not enough clay on that side, are obvious and easy to fix when you're at this roughed in phase. Are we clear? Yeah. Okay, and then the corner of the eye needs to be bigger. So I got a little pin tool. And expose more of that eye so they're more like the other one, the other little face. And again, compare them. Yeah, I'm still too high. So I'm going to bring the little, bring the little cheeks up. This little one's smiling, it's so cute. Okay. And I think you can see what I'm doing. The little mound I made that was to be the mouth. I'm just sort of dividing it carefully with this tiny little tool. Okay, and just tapping upward and downward to shape those little lips. There are artists that I know who make these precious little tiny babies that I am just in awe of how realistic they can make them. And mostly because they must just have crazy good eyesight and really stable hands. Well, not mostly. I mean, they just are incredibly talented, and practice makes perfect. They're so good at it. But for my little Octomaid, they just have to be cute. They don't have to be super realistic. They're newborns. And newborn Octomaid babies are going to look slightly alien-like, I would imagine. So if they have a little bit of an alien look to them, I don't have a problem with that. And like I said, all of these little details, just making that bottom lip a little less pouty. Okay. Compare again. Getting closer. Need a bottom lid. So we're going to repeat. Pinch a little piece of clay. Condition it so it's warm. Bottom lid is even thinner than the top lid, so roll this out even a little more than the other one. I mean, you don't want it paper thin because you still have to, that's too thin, still have to attach it to the face, but you don't need much of a piece. You do need two equal ones. So I'm going to pick that up. Oh, I can see that's too big. Try again. Sorry. My head's in the way. I can't see. Getting older. My eyes are getting worse. Alright, that looks like that'll do now. Drop that in there. Drop that one in there. Okay. Take my little tiny stylus again. Try to stay on camera. And just tuck this corner into that corner. Start connecting it to the face. Bring it around. I have more clay than I need, so I'm going to nick a little of that off. Okay. Do the same on this side. See where I'm at. Okay, hold on. I need more clay on this side. Such a tiny piece of clay. Okay. Unstick, please. Clay is so soft, it's like just morphing itself right into my fingerprints are morphing right into it as skin texture. Really hard not to crush this little head. Especially when that little tremor starts. Ever so slightly. Just smooth that in there. Try not to move the face around too much, which is not easy when you're working this small. Okay. Okay. Back to my brush. Little hunk of, ooh, through it. Little hunk of dirt on that cheek that's got to go. I'm going to rub it into the face and never get it off again. There you go. Say adios. And you can if you're careful. Do a little smoothing with this while it's here. Keep moving to a clean corner. And this little head is going to stay bald, so I really don't want all this dirt staying where it is. Careful so we don't drop it. You can see what a good job these little wipes do of picking up. Oops, must have gouged it when I dropped it. Sorry, I can fix that later. I'm not going to put the ears on. You can see they have pretty good sized ears to match Mom's ears, which are huge. Okay, looking pretty good. Happy with that. Alright. Let's get this little face facing me. Maybe yours. There we go. That'll work. Tiny little face. Okay. And a little more up. The lid. This one too. Yeah, I've strayed a little bit from the look of the others, but I kind of like it. I kind of like it. This one's definitely a girl. She's got a sweet, soft little expression. Am I in focus? Okay. it's hard. My default is to bring it closer to my face so that I can look through my 5x magnifying lens on my other reading glasses, which I wear them both at the same time just to be able to see these tiny details. But with the 5x magnification, I literally have to have it like 3 or 4 inches from my face. The further away from my face it is, the less clear it is. Okay. My little mouth keeps trying to close. I don't want a big gaping hole, but I do want it slightly open. Okay. And smooth this into the face. Make sure the side of the eye, that you can still see the profile of the eye, but also terminate that lens, or terminate the lid on the side here. It should round the same way as the face. Okay, I'm sculpting, less talking. Okay, am I happy with where the nose is? Maybe I'll bring it down a little bit so when I push my nostrils in, it doesn't ride up the face too high. Which is much harder to fix once those little nose holes are in, because it's such soft clay. Okay, pretty good. Now let's try these teeny weeny little holes. I don't normally like to just poke holes for nostrils because they're not actually round, but I have such soft clay that I'm working with here. Let me see. Yeah, that's good. Such soft clay. I want to make sure I don't end up with a little piggy nose. Bring that septum, make sure it's attached. Okay, and this side. Crazy soft clay. Little button nose. Just keep smoothing, carefully moving the clay around. Now if you have really firm clay, you don't have to be this delicate, but I'll tell you, it all takes practice. Learning how much touch is too much so you don't ruin a face. Especially the part about moving the clay from where it was to where you want it with the tool. Because it's real easy to push too hard. Okay. So I'm just going to heat this real quick and cure this clay. And the easiest way to do it is just with the heat gun. And this is me doing that. I'm just going to show it on camera in case doing this way isn't something you're familiar with. So this is a heat gun from Genesis. TF top plate is what it says on the gun. It only gets to about 400 degrees, 425 I think. But basically what I do, I just put the head on a little tool so it's hands free, hold it about, I guess you can see it's about 3 inches from the piece, and I just keep turning it, which allows the whole piece to heat up pretty uniformly. Works very well for a small piece. And then you switch the gun, I switch the gun to the low temp, which cools it off, so it's safe to sit it down.